What's up, Geeks and Gamers? I'm Josiah. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at some comments that Anthony Mackie made recently in an interview that basically confirms everything that we already knew when it came to Disney and Hollywood and everything else, because we all know that Hollywood is trying to change the way society looks at itself, and Anthony Mackie completely confirms that in this interview. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what Anthony Mackie has to say. Now, the weird thing about this interview is that Anthony Mackie, he's talking about like things like him playing as Captain America now, and you know, being in Winter Soldier and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and everything else. He talks about all of that in this interview. But the weird thing about it is that at first he says a lot of stuff that I actually agree with, and I think this is really good. And then he starts to get into a whole bunch of weird, just woke, victimized type of talk, and it's just ridiculous. But let's go ahead and take a look at this interview here and see what he has to say. So he says, "It's been an emotional experience, especially in the time in which we live in now. For Marvel to give me the opportunity as a black man from the South to become Captain America, I think says a lot, not only about the work that I've put in to get to this point, that they would entrust me with that, but with the way that they're hoping to change the way society looks at itself." So, there we go. Disney, Marvel, Hollywood. They're hoping to change the way society looks at itself. This has been the game from Hollywood for a very, very long time. They've been very, very influential in the culture. They've been very influential in society. They basically have changed a lot of the way that society looks at itself already, but they're continuing to do it, and people are continuing to fall for it. They're continuing to fall for the narratives that are being pushed by Hollywood. They're continuing to fall for the propaganda, the agendas, and everything else. And I mean, until people start to wake up to realize that, it's not going to get any better. But Mackie also made a couple of other contradictory comments throughout the episode. At one point, he says, "Sam, you know, being a soldier and being a veteran, being a counselor, he realizes that as a people, we're all Americans. I'm not black Captain America. Steve wasn't white Captain America. He was solely Captain America. So as a society, as a country, we need to realize that all the people who are citizens here on the soil, no matter what their origins are, they are Americans." And you know, that's a pretty normal statement, right? Like, that's something that I feel like you don't hear very many people saying in Hollywood anymore. And he adds, and you know, the old adage, I am my brother's keeper, comes into play. You know, Sam realizes he deserves the right. He's earned the right of Captain America, and that has nothing to do with his race or his background. Boom. And I wish that Hollywood would actually use that mindset when it comes to all of their movies, their shows, and everything else. I wish that we as a culture, as a society, could get back to this point where it's about merit and not about skin color. But unfortunately, and even though he is actually speaking the truth here, that this is what we need to do, that this is how we should be, you know, determining who we hire for our businesses, or determining who we hire to act in these different movies or whatever else, you know, this is the way that we should be looking at things as Americans. He basically shows that that isn't really the case. That isn't really the case when it comes to Hollywood. This isn't what they do. They don't hire people based on their merit or the fact that they have earned things. He's talking about how he earned the right of Captain America. Skin color has nothing to do with that. Race has nothing to do with that. However, towards the end of the episode, he refers to Sam Wilson as the black Captain America. So basically, he completely contradicts himself, because up here, he's like, it's not black Captain America, it's not white Captain America, and then he completely contradicts himself, which is ridiculous, which goes to show that he, you know, he's conflicted. I think that Anthony Mackie is conflicted, because in the past, he has also said many other things that I agree with, that I think are really good things that he has said. Then, you know, he'll go around and start to talk about a lot of woke nonsense as well. And I think that Anthony Mackie is a confused, conflicted person. I think that he doesn't know what he should believe, because Hollywood is feeding him what they want him to believe. But at the same time, I don't think that Anthony Mackie completely believes all of that. And there's probably a lot of people in Hollywood that are like that are conflicted, that are confused. So Anthony Mackie stated, with everything that's been going on with the beer bug and the murders of, you know, you know, people like Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everything else, and the riots and the activism going on with the young generation now, and you know, the BLM movement. It's been jarring to me and surprising how timely this series is. He added, "My truth has changed and evolved so much. As for me being a father, as for me being a man, and as far as me being an American. And a lot of that has come out of this role in the series. So it's been humbling in a real sense, but also inspiring to think that my sons will be able to turn on the TV and see a black Captain America." Which, you know, it's all fine and dandy. I don't really care, you know, what color Captain America's skin is, because I think Anthony Mackie is correct. I think that we have people from all sorts of different races and backgrounds that can be truly patriotic and truly American and love the American dream, the American ideals. And I think that is an amazing thing. I think that's what makes America such an amazing place and such an amazing country. But unfortunately, thanks to the powers that be, when it comes to, you know, our woke institutions, they don't want America to be that way anymore. Everything is about race and skin color when it comes to our institutions now. Not only did Mackie claim Marvel Studios and Disney are trying to change the way society looks at itself, which is so just ridiculous, but director Carrie Scogland also made some interesting comments about the show, and specifically about heroes. So then, you know, she has a lot of interesting things to say as well, but it's just interesting because, you know, Bounding to Comics brings up a good point that, you know, Rhodes actually wore an American flag themed Stark design suit called the Iron Patriot in Iron Man 3. So, you know, this isn't like anything super new or anything. And even before Marvel started to get super duper woke and everything, they were already doing good stuff with that. And you don't need to be woke to do good stuff like that, right? Like the fact, and nobody complained about that. Nobody complained that Rhodes was an Iron Patriot, that he wore a star-spangled Iron Man suit. Nobody cared. That wasn't the complaint of that movie. There was a lot of other complaints that people had with that movie, but that wasn't one of them. So, you know, they're just continuing to try to stir up division and race obsession and identity politics. That's what Hollywood continues to do. And I feel like Anthony Mackie is someone who is in the middle of all of that, and he's very confused. Because, once again, like I said, Hollywood is trying to tell him to think one way, to act one way, to speak one way. And on the other hand, you know, I think he has at least some common sense and some, you know, love for America. And those two things are conflicting, because Hollywood does not love America. Hollywood does not love the American dream or the you know, the Christian values that our country was built upon, our founding fathers. None of that. Hollywood doesn't love any of that, and they want to continue to strive to destroy that. The nuclear family, they hate the nuclear family as well. These are all things that Hollywood hates, and they are continuing to try to destroy those things, the foundations of our country. So anyway, you know, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. And like I said, Anthony Mackie, he had a lot of really good stuff to say kind of earlier in this interview. Then towards the end, he started to get into a bunch of other type of stuff. And it's just like, it's so weird. It's so weird how you can, in one interview, see a man like Anthony Mackie having that much confusion and not knowing what kind of narrative he wants to stick with. Because those two narratives that he gave in this interview completely clash with one another. And I think that what he says in the beginning is really good. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. You know, the greatest thing about this is that he completely exposes the fact that Hollywood and Disney are trying to change the way society looks at itself, which is hilarious. So hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new here to Geeks Gamers. I would appreciate that a lot. And I'll talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.